I'm with Patrick Voss, CEO of Zappware. Patrick, Zappware is celebrating its 15th anniversary this year. What changes have you seen in the industry over that period and in what you offer as a business?
Well, when we were founded in 2001, digital TV wasn't even yet there in a lot of countries. So we've seen lots of digital waves, how we call it, and that all introduce an evolution in how people watch TV. I think the main change that we saw in the last 15 years is the way how people are looking TV nowadays compared to 15 years ago. In the past you had the traditional value chain of content provider or production houses making the content, delivering that content to the broadcasters broadcasting that content over a network of an MSO or a service provider, and at the end the consumer consuming that content through the devices that were deployed by the operator. Well, nowadays, 15 years later, you see many sources of content. People can watch TV through that traditional value chain, but also through disruptive value chains like over-the-top content, watching content, not only with your set-top box, but also with the tablets, with the smartphones and so on. So that's quite a big change compared to 15 years ago.
So talking about disruption, how significant was your recent deal with Orange in Belgium, and what are the challenges in deploying that open cable model that they are using to offer a service?
Well, I think in that specific deal that also illustrates a little bit the evolution that Zappware as a company made. Starting from providing only applications on a TV set, on a set-top box, we have now become an end-to-end provider, a one-stop shop provider for the complete end-to-end system, starting from the capturing of the video up till the consumption of the video in the home and on the road on tablets and smartphones and so on. So the proposition there for that specific operator was a full end-to-end value proposition that we made. That's one thing. And what is also disruptive in that specific deployment is that it is based on an open cable environment, which means that this operator is actually launching their services through the cable network of their competitor actually. And the challenge for that was to make sure that the end product in the home, where the consumer is watching video, is offered in an environment with a good quality, although it is based on different networks and different ecosystems and a combination of that.
How much of a trend do you see towards offering TV as a kind of hosted service, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of using that model?
Well, there is definitely an evolution into what they call cloud-based video. At the end, cloud-based, what does it mean? It means at the end it also has to be hosted at a specific data center, and the difference being that it's mainly an operational difference, whereas if you do a cloud-based solution or a hosted solution, the operator doesn't have to care too much about the 24/7 daily operation of the service. So from that point of view, I really think that operators can benefit from such a hosted solution, in the sense that they can put all the responsibility with an external company doing that hosting actually. I think also for smaller operators it's an ideal vehicle to launch a service with a low capex model, so not too much investment, but have an OpEx based business model, because at the end launching a TV service is a quite expensive action. If you can do that in a hosted environment, you enter more into the software as a service or content as a service model, which is, especially for smaller operators, a good way to start their business. I think for the very big tier ones that would like to keep control of their environments, they will most probably stick to their own solutions in their own data centers. And the good thing is that our value proposition actually addresses those two markets. We can deliver our end-to-end platform either in a managed environment in the data center or the head end of the operator, but we can also equally well have it deployed in a hosted environment, in a cloud-based environment, in which the operator doesn't have to manage the daily operation.
how have the changes in the way service providers work affected Zappware's own business model, and how is that evolving?
Well, I think the business model is also related to what we just mentioned. In a hosted or cloud-based environment, you very often go to software as a service business models. And we as a solution provider, that we actually jump on the same business model as an operator is dealing with their consumer, which is a subscription-based model, a monthly subscription. And that's a change in business model that is actually improved by this kind of cloud-based and hosted solutions.
Finally, Patrick, how is the TV user interface evolving, and how important is that as a differentiator for operators?
Well, we've always been a company that is very heavily focusing on user experience, and that's also, I think, one of our competitive points compared to other companies in this area. We've always cared very much about how the user can make use of the services of an operator. The big evolutions we see there is obviously the introduction of all kinds of devices through which you can consume video, but also very much a 360-degree integration of those devices in the ecosystem. And what we see as a heavy trend is that the multi-screen devices, the tablets and smartphones, are more and more used as a user interface, whereas the big screen is used for the video consumption. And we very much believe in kind of content discovery on the small screen and enjoy the content on the big screen. And that brings us to another evolution, and that is the evolution of personalization of TV. Nowadays, consumers can get contents from all angles, not only from the linear broadcast channels, but also over-the-top content, internet content, in-home content, and so on, which makes that discovery of content gets more complicated. Finding the content that you're really interested in gets very complicated, and that's where the second screen devices come in, because these devices are more personal devices. And if you have a good personalization of your content offering, that will definitely help operators to bring the right content to the right person in a very efficient way.
Patrick, thanks very much.